From the moment Game 2 tipped off in Las Vegas, the energy was different. The Aces, embarrassed in Game 1 on their own floor, weren't about to let another night slip away so easily. But instead of answering with poise and execution, they answered with chaos. Bodies flew, whistles blared, and what should have been a showcase of basketball turned into something else entirely. A'ja Wilson, the newly crowned MVP, set the tone immediately, colliding with Lexi Hull just as she had in the opener. Screens were moving, arms were locking, and yet the whistles didn't land evenly. One glance at the box score tells the story. 41 fouls, 16 of them in a single quarter. That isn't basketball. That's a wrestling match dressed up as playoff intensity. The Indiana Fever knew they weren't going to be handed anything, but even they couldn't have expected how tilted the floor would feel. Each possession turned into a stop-and-start slog. Every time momentum threatened to swing their way, the game was chopped down by another whistle. By halftime, the message was clear. The Aces weren't going to be beaten clean. If they were going to take back control of the series, it was going to be through brute force, bruises, and the kind of officiating that left Indiana's coaching staff shaking their heads. Steph. White summed it up perfectly after the game. It's hard for us to find flow when there's a foul called every 10 seconds. Offense is about rhythm, timing, spacing, and we were never allowed that. She wasn't exaggerating. The Fever's entire identity relies on pace and ball movement, the very thing constant whistles destroy. And when you add in the kind of unchecked physicality that saw players like Lexi Hull sprawled on the hardwood again and again, the challenge became survival, not just execution. Hull herself shouldn't even have been out there. After a back injury in Game 1, she was a game-time decision. Most players in her position would have sat, taken the night to recover, and regrouped for Game 3 back in Indianapolis. But Hull strapped on the tape, hit the floor, and absorbed punishment from the opening tip. Somehow, through all that pain, she found her rhythm from deep, burying 5 three-pointers and tying a Fever playoff record. It wasn't just shooting. It was defiance. Every time she rose up, you could feel the message. No amount of shoves, bruises, or whistles was going to silence Indiana. Yet, for all her effort, the headlines didn't spotlight Hull's courage. They didn't highlight Boston's relentless battle inside or Sims's fearless drives. They focused on A'ja Wilson's stat line: 25 points, 9 rebounds, 5 steals, 2 blocks. On paper, those are dominant numbers. But numbers don't show how they were earned. They don't show the elbows, the bumps, the whistles that tilted in one direction. To the casual eye, it looked like a superstar imposing her will. To anyone watching closely, it looked like the Aces were given every opportunity to wrestle the game away. Aaliyah Boston, meanwhile, was forced to play survival basketball. 10 points, 13 rebounds, numbers that undersell the fight she went through just to register them. Every box out came with a shove. Every touch in the paint came with bodies crashing into her ribs. She didn't complain. She didn't posture. She just fought possession after possession, and yet the whistles she earned were minimal. Compare that to the constant trips Vegas took to the line, and you start to see how impossible it was for Indiana to find any kind of rhythm. And then there was Kelsey Mitchell. In Game 1, she had been untouchable, slicing through the Aces' defense for a playoff career-high 34 points. In Game 2, she was hounded, smothered, and battered into just 13. It wasn't because she forgot how to score. It was because Las Vegas made her the singular target of their adjustments. They face-guarded her off the ball, hedged hard on every screen, and funneled her passes into crowded lanes. She turned into a pinball, bounced around the court with contact at every turn. When she finally broke free, it was usually with the shot clock bleeding down. Vegas executed the game plan, yes, but they leaned on physicality the officials never reined in. Ironically, even Becky Hammond, the Aces coach, complained afterward about how physical the matchup had become. Think about that. Her team had just benefited all night from a whistle that chopped Indiana's flow to pieces, and still she wasn't happy. That contradiction says everything. The win didn't come solely from brilliant adjustments. It came from a combination of chaos, officiating inconsistency, and a level of brute force that would have made any football coach proud. Still, Indiana didn't fold. Hull's threes kept them afloat. Sims' fearless drives through double teams turned broken plays into points. Boston's rebounds gave them second chances when it looked like Vegas would run away. Even as 4 consecutive fouls erased a fever surge in the third quarter, the team kept pressing. They didn't let the frustration spill into mistakes. That's what made this loss sting less like failure and more like theft. Indiana didn't get beaten. They got dragged into a game where the rules seemed to shift with every whistle. Now, the real story begins. Because Game 3 won't be in Las Vegas. It'll be in Indianapolis at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, where 17,000 fans are waiting to roar. And this time, the Aces won't just be facing Mitchell, Boston, Sims, and Hull. They'll be facing an atmosphere that refuses to let whistles bury momentum. Gainbridge has already proven this season that it can rattle even the best opponents. The Fever have stormed back from double-digit deficits at home, lifted by energy that never fades. Every foul ignored on the road will feel impossible to miss when 17,000 voices explode in unison. Lexi Hull herself said it best. Our fans, they show up and they show out. That isn't just lip service. It's the truth of what Gainbridge has become. And it's why the next 2 games are more than just a continuation of the series. They're the turning point. Indiana already embarrassed Vegas once in their own building. They nearly survived Game 2 despite every obstacle. Now, with the series shifting home, the Fever are walking into the perfect storm of opportunity and energy. Vegas may have used whistles and bruises to claw back in Game 2, but they didn't break Indiana. They didn't silence the shooters, they didn't collapse the interior defense, and they certainly didn't steal the Fever's belief. What happened in Vegas will stay in Vegas. In Indianapolis, the story is about to change. So the question now isn't whether Indiana can hang with the champs. That's already been answered. The question is what happens when they finally get to play their game on their floor, with their fans at their backs. The Aces may have tied the series, but the Fever now hold the emotional momentum. They've been tested, battered, and written off before. And every single time, they've come back sharper. Game 3 is waiting. And it's not just a playoff matchup anymore. It's a fight for respect, for validation, and for a chance to show the league that the Fever aren't just a good story. They're a contender. Vegas wanted a response after Game 1. Now Indiana gets theirs. Show your support for the Fever by commenting, "Let's go Lexi." Do you think the Fever can turn this series around at home? Or will the Aces' experience carry them through? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss the next breakdown. The battle isn't over. It's just heating up.